Let's kitbash Pedro Kantor, shall we? Hello my friends, my name is Max, and today we're going to use this Captain Centos miniature, the recent commemorative series miniature, to kitbash Pedro Kantor. As you see, I was able to procure a second mini for you guys to see this kitbashing, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna use at least 3 kits to do something that resembles Pedro Kantor. Hopefully now you can see on your screens how the original miniature looked like. And as you can see, we only need to swap these hands and this hand. And this hand is supposed to be replaced with something with a mounted bolter. I did some research what can be done, and now you can see the rough schematic what will be done today. There is a small change there. I was supposed to use the power fist from the lieutenant, the new Primaris lieutenant, one of the lieutenants, and I figured I have a more suitable power fist, firstborn power fist, which looks a little bit better. And as a bonus, I didn't have to get a new lieutenant, because I don't have one. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and build the spell. We're gonna start with the base of the mini. We need to assemble the torso. We basically need to assemble this spell. We need to replace the arms. Both arms are gonna look different. This thing on top of this standard is gonna be different too. And of course the head is gonna be looking in the other direction. So this is our battle plan. Let's go ahead and start building the legs. Let's start with the left one made from beats 5 and 6. These are my beat 5 and 6. They should be combined together like this. And let's glue them together. And that is our left leg assembled. And now we need to build the right one from beat 7 and 8. These are my beats 7 and 8. They should be combined together like this. And let's glue them too. And this is our right leg assembled. Now the tricky part. We're supposed to combine them together. And as we learned last time, this is a little bit challenging because of the wonky beats over here. They are supposed to be sitting somewhat like this. There are 2 looks. And these are our legs so far. We move forward. Now we need to add the torso to these legs. We start with the back part of the torso, number 3. This is my beat number 3. Looks fairly peculiar. And it should be combined with the legs somewhat like this. And this is our torso so far. Very, very wonky. And now let's add the front part of the torso number 4 that will actually help fixing everything in place. This is my beat 4, looking fancy. Should be sitting over here like this. And that is our Pedro Kantor's torso assembled. Looking very, very nice. Next, they want us to add the arms, namely the right arm number 9. Instead of the right arm, we are supposed to add a power fist, an arm with a power fist. This is my arm with a power fist. I found it in my beats box. I'm pretty sure this is from the Vanguard Veterans books. In my case, this is Deathwatch Vanguard Veterans. I strongly suspect this is the one that is sitting over here. So Vanguard Veterans, really nice kit, lots of spares, highly recommended for kit bashing. So we take this nice power fist and we try to add it to our mini. I think in our case it should be sitting somewhat like this. This is the best pose we can afford without removing a lot of stuff. And let's add it. And that is my arm assembled. Looking nice. We move forward. They want us to add the shoulder pads. Of course, we're gonna use another one. And they want us to add the cape. Let's add the cape first. This is our fancy cape. Even though the original meaning of Pedro Kantor, it is a bit unclear for me if it uses any cape at all. I think in this case, we should go with the cape. It just looks cooler. The cape is supposed to be assembled like this. There are two places where it should be glued. So let's do just that. And this is our pal with the cape so far. Looking cool. Next, let's add a pauldron. In this case, it is pauldron number 10 that says Centos. We're gonna use something that is slightly different. Yet another case where Deathwatch Vanguard Veterans or just Vanguard Veterans was helpful. We could use this same pauldron as here, this one, which looks somewhat similar to the original miniature of Pedro Kantor. This is the closest one that I could imagine. Let me know in the comments below if you have even better option. Let's add this pauldron. Should be sitting somewhere here like this. Go into glue it. And that is our pauldron in place. Looking nice. Next, they want us to add the left arm. Of course, instead of this one, we're gonna get the one with the mounted storm bolter. The easiest way to find such a bit is the Sanguinary Guard books and this mounted storm bolter over here. The only difference is that in Pedro Kantor's case, that was the bolter with 2 barrels. In this case, it is just 1, but we're gonna go with this one. I have seen better options, but they belong to Terminator, so if you know a better left arm with a mounted double barrel storm bolter, please let me know. In our case, as I mentioned, we are using the Sanguinary Guard storm bolter. You can find it in the instruction set for the Sanguinary Guard over here. We would need beats 33, 34, and 19. These are my beats of the left arm with the storm bolter. This is the arm itself, and I already drilled the barrel over here. This is the fist, very, very small fist. And this is the ammo thing over here. Let's go ahead and build this arm. First, we're gonna add the fist. This is our fist in place. Looking very good. And next we are supposed to add this ammo. There is a look, and it should be sitting like this. Let's try to glue it. There is this look over here. And this is our left arm assembled. Looking very, very good. Let's give it a little bit of rest. And in the meanwhile, let's assemble the backpack with a standard over here. We would need beats 14 and 15. These are my beats 14 and 15. The only difference with these instructions is that I have removed this aquila because I will place some Imperial Fist thing on top of it. These 2 beats are supposed to be combined together like this, so I'm going to glue them together. And that is our backpack with the standard so far. Looking very good. I have removed this Imperial Aquila with Crimson Fist's symbol of a fist over here. The closest thing I could find to this fist was this nice tilting shield from the Imperial Fists upgrade sprue. And that is what we're gonna use. We're just gonna glue it on top of it. So it's gonna be sitting somewhat like this. In my case, this is good enough. Let's see how it will be glued. And this is how it looks in my particular case. Not exactly the same, but close enough for me. One other option that you could use over here is a tilting shield from Thor Garradon. He has a very, very cool tilting shield, which has a slightly larger Imperial Fists symbol over here, which is also Crimson's Fist, pretty much. So you could use that one. You could even go as far as cutting off some extra bits of the tilting shield, leaving only the fist, but I think it's gonna be just too much of work. So we're gonna go with this particular setup. Alright, this is our pal, and let's see how this arm, the right arm, is supposed to be sitting over here. It should be somewhat along these lines. Let's try to attach it. And this is our arm so far, looking good to me. Next, let's place a head over here. We of course go with this helmeted head, which looks almost exactly the same as Pedro Kantor's head. The only difference is that instead of the small skull over here, there was a gem on his helmet, and the gem is basically a sign of a fairly old Space Marine miniatures. Usually there is a skull in the newer ones over here. In Captain Centos, he is gonna be looking on his right. In our case, he is gonna be looking on his left, and that is why I removed this pin over here. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it directly. This is how the head looks like. It is aligned with the gun, pretty much. Looking incredibly cool. And now let's add a pauldron over here. It seems like that this pauldron is supposed to be Crimson Fist's pauldron, and I'm just gonna use the one from Imperial Fists upgrade sprue. This is our Imperial Fists upgrade sprue, kind of pauldron. It looks exactly like Crimson Fists, just in other color, and I'm gonna glue it. And that is our left pauldron in place. Looking very, very good. This is our pal. And now he's missing the backpack. This is our backpack with the standard. And let's glue it to the mini. And this is our miniature. So far. Looking incredibly cool. Now we need to drop him on a base. We need to build the base first. It is built from bits 1 and 2. These are my bits 1 and 2. They are supposed to be combined together like this. This is a tactical rock. And this is our base assembled. Looking very, very cool. And our pal is supposed to be dropped on this base along these lines. So let's glue him to the base. And that is our miniature, my friends. It took me roughly an hour to kitbash this mini from Captain Centos, including the time needed to select the bits. As you can see on your screens now, this mini is fairly close to original Centos. Of course, the bits are slightly different here and there, but the general vibe is the same. And more importantly, this one is a Primaris Space Marine, looking very, very, very cool. We have used several kits to achieve this result. The base was of course Captain Centos, the torso and the head comes from Captain Centos. The backpack and the standard are also from that kit. Two things come from the Imperial Fists upgrade sprue, of course the tilting shield on top, and this pauldron, the left pauldron over here. The left arm comes from the Sanguinary Guard, the Blood Angel Sanguinary Guard. They have very handy mounted bolters over here. And the right hand comes from the Vanguard Veterans. I'm pretty sure this is part of Vanguard Veterans, and the pauldron is also from that kit. So it's basically Captain Centos, Sanguinary Guard, Vanguard Veterans, Old Vanguard Veterans, and the Imperial Fists upgrade sprue. Just 4 kits are being used to achieve this fine result. And now let's take a look how this spell stands next to some other minis. It makes perfect sense, of course, to compare this spell to the original Captain Centos that we have built recently. This is Captain Centos unaltered on the right, and the mini that we have built today is on the left. We can see that even though they look somewhat similar, these arms do the trick really nicely. They look like different miniatures. They basically look in different sides. They have different hands positions. And the Captain Centos has more open hands position, and Pedro Kantor is kinda a little bit more closed. This is how they stand together. This is how our mini compares to new miniature of Vulcan Heston that we have built recently. We can see that Vulcan Heston has lots of decorations, and they kinda look very nice together. I really like their old style helmets, and they actually have different grills, breathing grills, as I can see now. Very interesting. And just for fun, let's compare our pal with the Black Templar's Execrator that we have built in one of the previous videos. We can clearly see that these guys have nothing in common apart from being Primaris Space Marines. And that is gonna be it for today, my friends. Hopefully, this will inspire building some Pedro Kantor minis. I know that there is a persistent rumor that a new Pedro Kantor miniature is already designed and it is just waiting for release later this year or maybe next year. Hopefully this is the case. But unless we get it, we can still kitbash this fine pal and use some existing kits to do just that. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please consider liking it and subscribe to the channel. We have tons of other miniatures to build and kitbash, and some really cool boxes to unbox. Stay tuned for that. As always, check out the video that you see now on your screen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.